Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome once again to our viewers on onespotmedia.com. Up first this evening, the Jamaica Defense Force is reporting that 4 more soldiers are now being investigated in relation to the marijuana bust in Gutta, St. Elizabeth on Tuesday. At a press conference today, the JDF says it had the reasons to be monitoring the activities of at least one of the soldiers. Kirk Wright reports.
The 2 soldiers caught in Gutta, St. Elizabeth, transporting the large quantity of marijuana remain in police custody, but the Army says they are interrogating 4 other soldiers.
To determine, among other things, whether or not there was any negligence in the conduct of their duties that might have contributed to this activity.
The JDF says before the bust, they got word that there were service members who may have been involved in illegal activities.
More specifically, reports received suggested that an unidentified soldier was involved in the movement of contraband.
The Army says their investigations later revealed that at least 1 soldier was engaged in what it calls renewed actions, which raised suspicions that he intended to use a JDF service vehicle to transport contraband. It says all JDF vehicles have tracking devices and that the van the soldiers used to carry the weed was under surveillance the moment it left JDF base at Upper Camp.
Using the newly installed closed-circuit television at the Cannonball Gate, 2 soldiers were observed leaving Upper Camp at approximately 17:08 hours on Tuesday. At this point, the JDF contacted its partners in the Narcotics Division of the JCF to commence collaboration of operational efforts to interdict the soldiers.
Reports are that there was a shootout between the soldiers carrying the marijuana and the police military team that intercepted them, but the JDF says none of its guns were involved. The Army spokesman, however, refused to say if the guns the detained soldiers used in the shootout are legally owned by them. The JDF says at the time the soldiers were caught, they were not on any official JDF business in the area. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Tuesday's incident is an indication that large drug dealers are trying to corrupt members of the security forces. Anthony Lugg has that story.
The shootout between the police and 2 members of the Jamaica Defense Force, which later led to a ganja bust, has no doubt left the Army with a black eye. 2 soldiers are now in police custody and the investigation continues. On Thursday, journalists sought a reaction from National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang during a virtual press briefing.
Well, it is of concern because there's a view out there that the JDF is, is pristine compared to the police. I think what happened in St. Elizabeth, I'm not entirely surprised because I think the organizers, the big purveyors of drugs, are going to make every attempt to impugn the character of the security forces. You already have attack on the police force, and that's us out there. Certainly, they'll take steps to seek to question the integrity and character of the security force, and they would go out of their way to engage somebody in the JDF.
The JDF has indicated that 4 other soldiers are being investigated in relation to Tuesday's ganja bust in Gutta, St. Elizabeth. While the public awaits the outcome of the investigation, questions have now been raised about the integrity of members of the JDF, especially with 2 weapons gone missing recently as well. Dr. Chang cautioned, noting that all recruits are vetted with continued monitoring and training.
But with the kind of money involved in drugs, and if they pursue it aggressively, I'm sure they'll find someone to break ranks. And that's what happened in St. Elizabeth cases. The Jamaica Defense Force officers will do the required investigation, and the police, in conjunction with the police force, to deal with the situation. But the big drug dealers are going to make every attempt to corrupt the entire legal system in Jamaica, and they have the money to do it. what we have to do is take steps to prevent it and mitigate the damage.
The security minister also took issue with what appears to be a pushback from those involved in the drug trade when confronted by members of the security forces.
When business first, the criminals are lay out that kind of money and they lose it, they begin to fight back.
He insists the good members of the security forces will not let up. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.